Yes, sir. We're here live here on a Wednesday evening here in the GunzPicks studio in beautiful downtown Maryland. It is the Breakin Ankle Show. I am GunzPicks, the host with the most, the point guard of podcasts, and the absolute self-proclaimed CBB GOAT himself. We are back once again to give you the plays that pay the bills. And if you're watching this live on any one of the social media angles, whether it's X, Instagram, or wherever you're going to be watching this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button over here at YouTube, and join the chat. That is how we're going to build this thing up to the rafters. I'm trying to get my subs up. We got about 152 subscribers right now. We started with 83 before the inception of the new and improved GunzPicks channel. And I want to build this thing up and get everybody into the plays that pay the bills. Recap yesterday, went 4-3, minus 0.9 units. But that is going to bring us to 70, 50, and 2, plus 20.85 units since the inception of the GunzPicks channel on February 13th. Give me a yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. Then now we're going to give some plays out here. I got a big card here today. It is a Wednesday, so there's a lot on the board. But we're going to start this off here with a nice little early play here. 6:30 p.m. East is when this tips off. It's Villanova and Seton Hall here. A little Big East action at the Prudential Center. Newark, New Jersey is the spot. And I'm going to be going with the home team on this one. Give me Seton Hall, the Pirates. Money line, minus 113 as the first play here. 2-unit banger. Let's talk about these two teams. You got Villanova's team is 63rd in offensive efficiency, 163rd in field goal percentage, 270th in the country in offensive rebounding, and they're number 1 in free throw percentage. However, when you look on the other side for the Seton Hall defense, they're 48th in defensive efficiency, 114th in defending shots, 196th in defensive rebounding, and they're 48th in the country in allowing teams to go to the free throw line. So they're a good team, disciplined on the defensive side of the ball, and they match up with a lot of the strengths and weaknesses that Villanova has at the table offensively. When you look at Seton Hall's offense, 84th in offensive efficiency, 237th in field goal percentage, 291st in turnovers. They are sloppy with the basketball, a little concerning there, but they're 19th in offensive rebounding and 25th in the country in free throw percentage. And then we got a defense there, Nova, great defense. I got to give them that. 13th in defensive efficiency, 60th in defending shots, 25th in defensive rebounds, and they're 39th in the country in opponents allowed to the free throw line. And you're asking yourself, why, Guns, are you taking the Seton Hall team? Why? Well, let's talk about what this team does home versus away. Nova, road versus home splits. Offensively, virtually identical numbers. However, on the defensive side, there is a little bit of a drop-off. They allow 68.3 points per game on the road, 62.4 points per game. I'm sorry, at home. So there is a little bit of a drop-off there. About 5-6 point drop-off there from road versus home splits. Seton Hall, on the other hand, their numbers improved drastically from home versus away. They put up 78.3 points per game at home versus 66.5 points per game on the road. And on the defensive side, they allow 67.3 points per game at home versus 73.3 points per game on the road. And it's a big bounce back there for Seton Hall. You know what happened to them Sunday. We did take UConn first half in game. There's reason for that. Seton Hall was UConn was in a revenge game going against Seton Hall, losing by 15 in the first game at Seton Hall in Newark, New Jersey, and they got waxed. 30-point loss there for Seton Hall, so there is the bounce back factor there. And then prior to that game, they lost to Creighton 84-64 on the road. So back-to-back road games, very damaging for them. However, I think this is a good bounce back, getting back to home where they play their best ball. These teams did meet on February 11th. Nova dominating them 80-54. So there's that factor there. And you got them basically at a pick 'em. That should be concerning there. And then you have they were 7-point favorites in that game. Now they're a short dog on the road. I mean, there's a concern there for Villanova. I'm seeing -1 starting to swing there for Villanova as well. Pick them to -1. But there is a 7-point line swing to be concerned about here. And then you got Nova, third road game in 4 games, 2-5 straight up in the last 5 road games. And then you have Seton Hall dominating at home, 12-3 at home this season, straight up. And that includes wins over UConn, Marquette. And then they had a 3-point loss to Creighton in 3 overtimes. So this team can play with anybody at home including the best in the Big East, if not the country. So this Seton Hall team is in a perfect position in a revenge spot versus a team that can definitely beat. Granted, the history doesn't tell you, but look, Gillespie is not there anymore. I mean, there's a lot of key players. The coach isn't there anymore. You have to look at the old Nova when you look into the trends for the matchup of the history. But I think Seton Hall gets it done here at home where they play their strongest ball. Give me Seton Hall here. Money line minus 113. 2-unit banger to start the show. As we get into the chat, we got the boys in the building. Carter Eakes. This is a first time. Give me a yeah. Yeah. Let me talk here. And we got Peter in there. Yeah, it's still pretty damn good. Hey, listen, it's going to be a grind here. Sometimes you're going to grind out an entire card and maybe make a little profit, maybe lose a little bit of profit. However, when we have big days, we have big days. And that's what's going to get us over the hump. Like I said, plus 20.85 units. Not too shabby for a couple of weeks of work. All right, let's go to the next play here. This is a play that I love as well because I think it's a little bit of a look ahead here for the Houston Cougars. They're going on the road here into Central Florida, which I should call the bounce house. I've said it before. Their court is the bounce house, in my opinion. That's where balls are dribbled. Additional Financial Arena, Orlando, Florida, 7 p.m. tip. And you can already tell where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to be taking the dog here. UCF plus 8.5 as my dog of the day. That's right. That's right. Let's break this down here. Statistically, Houston's the better team. That's a fact. I mean, you got Houston 13th in offensive efficiency, number 1 in defensive efficiency, and they're going against a UCF team that's 176th in offensive efficiency, but they're 10th in defensive efficiency. So I think the defense is going to be the key point on this one. We're going to need this defense to step up here at home in the bounce house. Both teams bad on the free throw line, too, so I'm not concerned on both ends of that. You got Houston 294th in the country in free throw percentage versus a UCF team that's 250th in free throw percentage. But the home and away splits are the concerning factor here when you look at Houston. Houston's offense scores 70.6 points per game on the road, but the difference is at home they put up 77.4 points per game. The defense on this one, however, when you look at what they do at home, Houston's one of the best defenses in the country. They only give up 49.8 points per game at home. They give up 66.3 points per game on the road. So it brings them back to this weird average that when they get on the road, that defense does not travel as well as it does in terms of production on their home court. UCF home versus away splits. Their offense is slightly better, but there's not much of a difference there. However, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, they only give up 61.8 points per game on the road versus giving up 74.2 points per game on the at home. So I'm sorry, on the road. So from a home standpoint, 61.8 points per game given up to their opponents. I think this is a much better team in their home court than they are in the road. And then you got Houston 6-3 straight up on the road this season, but they're only 2-7 ATS. So that is another concerning factor. And granted, Houston's been a favorite, anywhere between 5 and double digits in a lot of these cases. And you've got that situation here now. These teams did meet on January 20th. Houston did win the game 57-42 as 17.5 point favorites. Now the line has dipped significantly to 8.5 right now. So you have that line correlation that you love to look for when you pick out these spots. And then you have the look ahead potential for Houston. Houston has a revenge game coming up on Saturday. They're going to go play the Kansas Jayhawks. If you remember, they lost to the Kansas Jayhawks in prime time on a Saturday night. Didn't get the job done. Now they're going to have them back home on Saturday to finish off the regular season. I think they're looking at that game, and not this UCF team here today. And also UCF is in a significant bounce spot after their home loss to Iowa State in the previous game. When you have UCF at home as a dog, it is a great take. 6-1 ATS as a dog, especially when they're a dog of 5 points or more. 6-1 ATS in those positions versus conference opponents. So with all that being said, all the statistics applied, we're going to go with UCF on this one, plus 8.5. 2-unit banger, baby. Fire the guns across the bow. As we get to the chat, talk to the boys. Connor back in the chat says taking the picks as you speak, man. Let's get it. Give him the horn. And Peter gets it. And I just want to make sure everybody watching this now says long term, babe. It's a marathon. Guns best. What I say? Oh, best at this stuff. Yes. We're playing long term ball here. We're not, this is not checkers. This is chess. We're not hitting home runs. We're playing small ball. We're getting on base. We're getting what the pitcher gives us, and then we keep moving forward. So I got a lot today, so to make sure I get them out to the people. But if you just get into the channel and you just start watching us live, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on the GunzPicks channel. Like I said, we are absolutely cooking with napalm on this show. We are currently 70, 50, and 2 plus 20.85 units, and we are just going to continue to stack up the chips to the end of the college basketball season. All right, next play that is going to be coming up on the board here. Let's go with a total on this one. We're going to go Big Ten action. We're going Northwestern to Michigan State. It's the Breslin Center, East Lansing, Michigan. 7 p.m. is the tip. And I like the under. I'm going to be taking the under on this one, 2-unit banger. Don't take a lot of totals, but when I do, we cash. We cashed on UNLV last night, and I hope to bring the cash back on this under Northwestern and Michigan State. Let's talk the numbers. Michigan State averaged 68 points per game in their last 4 games. They typically average 74.4 points per game this season, so there's a little bit of a drop-off there. And then you got Northwestern averaging 67.5 points per game in their last 4 road games, which is directly right on their road average. Then you got the tempo. These two teams play slow tempo. You have Northwestern 339th in the country in tempo versus a Michigan State team that's 291st in the country in tempo. So these teams play slow, less possessions, less scoring, which means no points, and we get to the under. Also got to look at the trends on this one. The under has hit 4 out of the last 6 Northwestern games. Michigan State is 4-1 to the under in the last 5 home games. And then Michigan State is 8-1 to the under when the spread is when they are a favorite between 5 and 11 points, which right now, this is where the line is sitting. And then you look at the last matchup. They went way over the total, and the total was 136. They hit 162 in that game. And now the line is like 135, 135 and a half right now. You didn't really make much of a change to the line from game A to game B, which has given me an indicator that this is probably going to be an under take. And typically with these two teams trending towards the under late in the season, I think we just got to roll with it here. So give me the under 135, 2-unit banger, baby. My God. Nami in the chat. Give him the horn. And he's always messing around. My guy, long-term equals annals, unlimited per Baz. That is some inside talk there, but he's always saying, cheers, sir. If you know, you know. All right, Peter also coming in there. He says, great call with the under on UNLV. Yes, sir. And we also hit UNLV last night. Couldn't finish it off with Boise. That is what killed our profit for the night. Boise just absolutely laying an egg at home versus Nevada team that is, we got to give credit where credit is due. Nevada is a good home team. Actually, excuse me, a good road team. All right, let's get – speaking of – let's go into a little bit of let's go into a little AAC action here. FAU versus North Texas. The Super Pit is the location. I'm wearing the hat for a reason. Denton, Texas, 8 p.m. is the tip. And I'm going to be going with North Texas plus 2-unit banger on this one. You have the revenge factor. I'll get to that in a second, but let's talk the numbers between these two teams. FAU, 18th in offensive efficiency going against a North Texas defense that's 44th in defensive efficiency, 32nd in defending shots, 42nd in turnover percentage. Not a great rebounding team, but it's still a good defending team. And I'll talk about their scoring numbers here soon. Then you got to look at the offense there for Northwestern, 121st in offensive efficiency, 27th in offensive rebounding, 94th in free throw percentage. And they're going against an FAU team that is 94th in defensive efficiency, 114th in defending shots. Not a great defensive rebounding team, 214th in the country in that regard. And they don't get a lot of turnovers, 188th in the country in turnover percentage defensively. Then you got to look at the home and road splits with FAU. FAU's defense allows 77.8 points per game on the road versus 66.8 points per game at home. Significant drop off between home versus road splits. Also, you got to look at FAU, 14th best scoring team in the country. Their points per game average is virtually identical between home versus road. But, however, if you look at the first matchup, like I said, their offense is number 14th in the country in scoring offensively. North Texas held them to 66 points on the road at FAU when they average 82.8 points per game. So this defense can hold them below their season average by a significant amount. And I think at home, they're going to be super motivated to go do that again. Now you got to look at North Texas's defense, one of the best in the country as far as defensive scoring. They hold their opponents to 62.7 points per game, which ranks them 6th in the country in that statistical category. North Texas offense improves at home as well, which was a concern. Like I said, not the best offense at 120th in the country, but at home, they average 73.2 points per game at home versus 62.5 points per game on the road. So there is a significant bump for this North Texas team. FAU won the first matchup, like I said, 66-63. The narrowest of margins is 9.5 point favorites. Now they're a short favorite on this one at +2, +2.5, depending on what books you get in that. I'm sorry, North Texas is +2, +2.5, and FAU is favored. But in these short favorite situations for FAU, it never bodes well. They're 1-4 ATS as a favorite of 6 points or less, and they're 2-7 ATS on the road this season. So the stats, the trends, everything applies, tells me checkbox, checkbox, checkbox. We're going with North Texas on this one, +2, 2-unit banger. Get it done at the pit, super pit. Bang. As we take a sip of the potion, take a breath, get to the chat, talk to Jake. Love the energy and insight you bring every day. Keep killing it. You know what? We need to give him a horn. Listen, I'm going to come here every day. I'm going to come here and bring the energy. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take my palm like this, and I'm going to slap your bookie like that. And he's going to say, I'm going to say, pay up, bitch, every single week. And you're going to say the same thing to your bookie if you keep following me on the GunzPicks channel. Like and subscribe. Let's go to the next picks. That's my sales pitch for the channel. All right, let's go play a little Big 12 action. Let's go a little BYU and Iowa State. This is at James Hilton Coliseum, Ames, Iowa. This team is suffocating. Great defense, and Iowa State is having themselves a year. Cyclones, get up at 9 p.m. tip. I got them at -6.5. I'm seeing -7s hitting the board right now, but I'm going to be taking here officially -6.5 for Iowa State, 2-unit banger. Let's talk about it. BYU, statistically, great team. 9th in offensive efficiency. Defense is 53rd in defensive efficiency, but they're going against an Iowa State defense that is 2nd in defensive efficiency, 2nd in creating turnovers, and they're 147th in defensive rebounds. On the offensive side for Iowa State, 63rd in offensive efficiency, 57th in offensive rebounding. Not a great free throw shooting team at 291st in free throw percentage, but BYU is average at best on the free throw line, 122nd in the country in free throw percentage. One of the strengths that BYU has is shooting the ball. They're 22nd in the country as far as that goes, but Iowa State's defense is exceptional, especially at home. Now you got to look through the home and road splits. BYU definitely has some margins. Offensively for BYU, 77 points per game on the road, but they put up 86.8 points per game at home. Defensively, they allow 74 points per game on the road versus 66.2 points per game at home. This is the reason why this BYU team has not had a lot of success this season on the road against anybody in the country. Then you got Iowa State. I mean, let's talk about their numbers. This is where they love to play here in Ames, Iowa. 81.5 points per game at home, 69.8 points per game on the road offensively. Then you got on the defensive side, one of the best defenses in the country as far as defensive scoring is concerned. They allow 56.4 points per game at home versus 69.8 points per game on the road. So when you get to Ames, Iowa, you better pull up your bootstraps because you're going to have a long day. And I think right here, BYU is going to have themselves a long day. They did meet on January 16th. Iowa State did beat them 87-72 as 4-point road dogs. Now you see the line shift to make them a 7.5 point favorite currently. So yeah, 11.5 point swing from game A to game B. This isn't a revenge game for BYU because I don't think they're going to get motivated to go win this one. And BYU just is not backable on the road. They're 3-6 straight up, 2-7 ATS in those spots. Also, they're not backable as a dog either. They're 1-5 ATS in those scenarios. Then you got to look at Iowa State. I told you, great home team, 14-3 ATS at home this season, 6-2 ATS versus conference opponents. They're also 14-3 ATS when favored of 6 points or more, 5-1 ATS versus conference opponents in those scenarios. So I got enough check boxes here to go take the Cyclones. They're going to get it done. It's at home. And quite frankly, they dominated this team before. They're going to do it again today. Give me Iowa State. -6.5, 2-unit banger, baby. Ooh, shots fired across the bow. We're hitting bookies right in the chest, right in the wallet. Well, we don't want to hit the wallet because we need that cash, right? Of course, Sox Nation, back with you. What's up, my guy? What's up? Sorry I had to go a little bit early today. I had some oblos, but I had to give you the plays today. I typically go live at 6:30, but today I had to go a little bit early, so had to get some stuff done where I'm scheduled today at 6:30. Michael, always joining the chat, always dropping plays. True GunzPicks, give him the horn. That's right. And of course, Sox Nation, he's always either with me or he's against me. But we respect each other, and he's going to say BYU gets it done there, wins outright versus Iowa State. Respect your opinion, but I beg to differ. All right, let's go to the next play here. We're going to go with a couple one-unit bangers to close us out here, and then I'll give a recap for everybody that has just joined the show. All you guys that have been watching live, all of you guys that have just joined the show, please like and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Hit the bell, hit the thumbs up to this video as well. The thumbs up is more important than anything. You don't have to subscribe to the channel. I know you guys don't want me in your algorithms. You don't want to see my stupid face every time you turn on YouTube, but just hit the thumbs up button for me, please. I'm trying to grow this channel to the rafters. Please do so right now. As I take a sip of the potion and get into some of the dirtiest of dirty, and I'm talking about the Ohio Valley Conference tourney. And the game that I'm looking at right now is East Illinois versus SIU Edwardsville, Ford Center, Evansville, Indiana, 10 p.m. tip, a little late night bangers action for you. And I'm going to be going with Eastern Illinois here. The dog +3, 1-unit play. Listen, neutral site game. Evansville, Indiana is game 2 of the tournament. The tournament is starting tonight. This is just a sheer capping performance of home versus away of how they perform outside their home court because Eastern Illinois has the advantage there. You look at EIU. You look at Eastern Illinois. The only advantage statistically is really how they perform on the free throw line. They're 109th in free throw percentage versus a SIU E team that is 183rd in that statistic. But when you look at all their other matchups, they're all together. Defensively, rebounds, field goal percentage, defending shots. These two teams match up like a coin flip. However, I got the dog on this one for a reason. That's why. It's because these two teams are playing basically 0-0 ball, and I like to take the dog in those spots. These two teams split on the year as far as winning and covering, so they're both 1-1. So there's a little rubber match here in the third spot. Then you got SIU Edwardsville here. Lost the last 3 straight up and are 0-5 ATS in their last 5 games overall. EIU 4-4 straight up, 7-1 ATS in the last 8 games. So I like that too. So you basically have an Eastern Illinois team that is just performing way better than SIU Edwardsville is currently. Also look at Eastern Illinois here, 7-2 ATS in the last 9 games, not on their home court. versus an SIU Edwardsville team that is 2-10 straight up, 1-12 ATS in the last 13 games not on their home court. So this team, once they get past their home court, they underperform versus an Eastern Illinois team that would rather travel than play on their home court. Then you got SIU Edwardsville is 0-6 ATS as a favorite of 4 points or less. So all these statistics here, I'm telling you, this is just a straight trend cap. No statistics whatsoever, because when you look at the Ken Palm numbers, they're virtually identical. It could be a coin toss as far as that. However, the performance of how this team does outside their home court leads me to believe Eastern Illinois has the advantage here. So I'm going to put 1 unit on them. Give me Eastern Illinois +3, 1 unit banger, baby. Hit the guns. As we get to the chat is rolling now. You guys are awake. And let's go to Goose. He said, earlier the better. Hard to get 7 o'clock plays in. I agree with you. I'll try to get these shows in at 6 o'clock if I can. I've got oblos. It's really hard for me to get home by 6, but I think the rest of this week I should be okay. So I'll try to get the show running by 6 o'clock moving forward, at least for this week. And Michael dropping some plays in the chat. He loves Tennessee first half -2.5. He likes Iowa -6.5. I'm thinking means Iowa State. He likes North Texas +2.5. We're aligned there. UC Upstate +5. Lemoyne. He's playing in the dirtiest of the dirty with Lemoyne today, -3.5 so far. Yeah, I almost put Lemoyne on my card. I kind of like that team. I bet them a couple times periodically during the season. The smallest gym in the world, if you've ever seen it. It's like a high school gym. It's like a high school gym in Alaska, though, if you ever see that gym. Not a lot of people like to go watch them play unless it's my friend Adam Trigger, who likes to go check them out from time to time. But let's go. Michael also says that BYU can go into Kansas, win, and then come back down 15.5, TCU and win, then go to Iowa State and win. So be it. Yeah, I know. Listen. I took Kansas when they played at Kansas. I mean, Kansas is one of those teams that's kind of a mismatch as far as how their performance are from game to game. Kansas was up a lot versus the BYU team, and it was business as usual. And then, of course, BYU took them some smelling salts and did something that they hadn't done all season on the road. Is they came back and not only covered that game, but also won. And with BYU, if they're going to continue to do these second half miracles, you might as well pick them to win the national championship at this point, because this team seems to always figure things out in the second half. However, with Iowa State, this defense is way better than Kansas. So if Iowa State does get a big lead in the first half, it's going to be very tricky to get back and get right and get the win here in Ames, Iowa versus this exceptional defense that Iowa State brings to the table. That is my opinion. We welcome yours. Sox Nation, I hate those games. Can't bet them. In-state schools. So be it. I told you, it's a 1 unit play. I just picked it statistically, and I'm going to keep moving forward. All right. Here's another game I like. I kind of like it. I don't love it like a 2 unit love it, but I think this is worth playing on this beautiful Wednesday. We're going to go to UConn versus Marquette. We're going to go Fiserv Forum, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Big game here at 8:30 p.m. East. Should be a bigger game, but I think you're going against an unmotivated UConn team versus a Marquette team that is a little depleted on the injury side. But I'm going to go with the dog on this one at home. Marquette +5.5, 1 unit play. Let me tell you why. All right, you got UConn, third in offensive efficiency. Defensive, they're 15th in defensive efficiency. They're going against a Marquette team that's 18th in defensive efficiency, and offensively, they're 21st in the country in offensive efficiency. On the free throw end, virtually identical as far as their percentages go. If there is not real edge on the rebounding side, both teams are pretty good with the ball as far as taking care of it. You have a Marquette team that likes to get to the turnovers, and 16th in the country in turnover percentage. But I think it's going to be a good matchup here with a team that needs a win versus a team that really doesn't need to win because they've already got the conference locked in before the tournament. Look at the home versus road splits with UConn. 77.9 points per game on the road versus 84.6 points per game at home. And the UConn defense that allows 70 points per game on the road versus 59.1 points per game at home. So there is a little bit of regression there for UConn when they have to travel. I said revenge game there for Marquette, right? They got embarrassed in Stores, Connecticut. 81-53 is 7-point home favorites. We took UConn. It was an easy win. It was a dominating win. However, I think the bounce back factor here favors Marquette. Marquette also coming off a bad loss, right? They're coming off a loss to Creighton in the previous game, getting demolished on the road in what was considered a bounce back spot there for Creighton. This is UConn's 10th road game this season. They're 6-3 straight up, 5-4 ATS on the road, but their wins and covers. When you break this down, the teams that they played, they beat Butler by 2 points. Xavier by a half a point as far as covering. So they covered in those 2 games. Then they played St. John's, Georgetown, and DePaul. Those are the games they played that they won and covered. The non-covers were against good tournament teams. We're talking about Villanova, Seton Hall, and Seton Hall won that game outright. Kansas, Creighton. Those are teams that beat them and covered. So when I look at UConn and I going against Marquette on the road, it's a different scenario for UConn. It seems like when they're not as motivated to go play in those spots as they are when they play in Connecticut. Also, Marquette 8-1 straight up in ATS in the last 9 home games. Marquette as a dog of 5 points or less this season. They're 4-0-1 ATS. Their only push was against number 1 team in the country or number 2 team in the country. I can't remember what. Purdue. Home team has won and covered in the last 5 meetings in this matchup. I am very aware of the injuries for Marquette. I know Tyler Kolek's not going to be playing this game. He's supposed to be out till probably going to save him up for the NCAA tournament at this point. I don't know if he's going to play in the conference tournament. And they got an illness there with their big guy, 6'11" dude, that's going to match up there well with their big guy. So that's a little bit concerning there. Iguodala is what I'm thinking of. He's listed as questionable. He's got an illness. I hope he does play in that game. That is going to be a key factor in this one. But in my opinion, UConn, what do they got to play for in this one? This game means nothing to them. Like I said, they've already locked up the Big East. They've already clinched the number 1 seed. They're going to go and probably rest guys or something like that, try to get ready for the tournament. This game means nothing. However, Marquette kind of needs this win because they really haven't been playing well as of late. And they're coming off that bad loss to Creighton. Regardless of missing their top guard, I think this is going to be at least a cover here for Marquette. But I have concerns about Kolek being out. So I'm going to go with Marquette on this one, plus 5.5, 1 unit play. And if you want to sprinkle on the money line, so be it. But that is not going to be official for my part. I'm just going to go with the 5.5. Hopefully I cash my ticket with a close game at the very least. Goose in the building said, missed the beginning of the show. You like Iowa State? Yes, I do. I did make that as official play. I got it minus 6.5. I still like it at minus 7, minus 7.5. I think Iowa State gets it done at Ames. Yes, the Marquette injury. I am aware of that. They're also their big guy has an illness too. He's listed as questionable. I do hope he plays in that game. I think he does. Like I said, it's already baked in the line. He was out during Creighton. Okay, now if Kolek was in that game, I think it would have been a pick'em or maybe a slight favorite for Marquette or something. I think they made this line a little bit overinflated, knowing that UConn has been playing typically well. They're coming off that big revenge game versus Seton Hall on Sunday, winning by 30 points. So I think Marquette is in the better position here than UConn. And then you're getting 5.5 with what I think is still a good team without one of their top guards. I think they're going to put a little bit more pressure on UConn here today too. They refrained from that. Smart really kind of like laid off because of the good guard play with UConn. I think they're really going to pick up the pace here and try to be a little bit more aggressive versus this UConn team. If they don't, they're going to get demolished one more time. Taylor in the chat has a question about LSU or Arkansas. I hate both teams. They're disgusting. Arkansas is disgusting in this position, and so is LSU. If I had to lean one way or the other, gun to my head, no pun intended, I would probably go with the Arkansas side, but I am not touching that game with a 10-foot pole. Both teams are terrible. Any other questions you want to bring to the chat? Of course, EQ in the building. Have to recognize my guy. Give him the horn. give him a bang as well for the. All right. We're getting close to closing time in here. Of course, Uzo Bro says, I'm late. You like Davidson, my guy? No, I want, the line's telling me Davidson on that one, but I ain't touching it. I can't get there. They haven't covered a lot at home this season, and I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But that one is, that's a tough game. I would probably lay off that if I were you. All right, here are the plays. Let me recap for you before I shut this thing down. We're going to go Seton Hall money line, 2-unit banger. That's at 6:30. It's actually starting right now, so jump on it now. We're going to go UCF as the dog of the day, plus 8.5, 2-unit special. We're going to go North Texas, plus 2-unit special. We're going to go Iowa State, minus 6.5, 2-unit play. We're going to go Eastern Illinois for a 1-unit special here, plus 3. And we're going to end it with Marquette. Actually, we're not going to end it with Marquette. We're going to go Marquette plus 5.5, 1-unit play. And we're going to go Michigan State under 135, 2-unit play. So those are the plays. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the ball. And as always, let's keep dancing. Go. Bang.